House should be null and void. Should expunge from the records of Parliament his name and anything associated with him.
We're live in Asin North, and also Electoral Commission cautions opposition NDC to desist from what it says are unjustifiable attacks on its integrity.
Most often than not, when a party is in opposition, the Electoral Commission becomes the whipping boy. Any small issues, they will whip the Electoral Commission without any grounds.
Also, Communications Minister hints at plans to regulate artificial intelligence, AI, in Ghana.
They are scared at the potential damage that it can cause if it is not properly regulated. And so once this document, our strategy has been has gone through cabinet, we'll bring it here for Parliament's input.
And in business, Bank of Ghana increases dollar support to deal with recent pressure on the Ghana cedi.
And in sports, Black Stars forwards Kamaldeen Silamana and Ernest Nyoma named in Black Meteor squad as Ghana attempt to end a 20-year wait for a place at the Olympic football tournament.
And also, Ghana Education Service backtracks on plans to introduce tug-of-war and pillow fights in basic and second cycle schools after public backlash. We have details of that. We have NSMQ. And we get to hear the warning from students of Achonsia SHS to Adisadel College, who just joined two other schools in the Ahafu region to qualify for the national level.
At this school, tell them we are coming this time around, and we are not coming to joke over there. We are coming to abuse them with us. We are coming for a revenge.
We have that and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Please do well to join us with your comments via WhatsApp 055-1111-997. Also on our social media platforms, you can leave your comments there with the hashtag Newsnight. I am Emefa Apawu.
And my name is Mensah. We start with that developing story over the Inter-Ministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining. That defunct body, now senior figures who headed that body are currently a subject of intense scrutiny by the special prosecutor. Tonight, we have confirmed that the former secretary of that committee, Charles Bisu, is now a wanted man. The special prosecutor has secured a court order to arrest him. In the last few minutes, lawyer for Charles Bisu has confirmed to Top Story that Charles Bisu will not be turning himself in. He has accused the special prosecutor of abusing his authority. More on that pretty shortly. But it was just yesterday that details emerged about the arrest of Mr. Bisu's former boss, former environment minister and chairman of that same interministerial committee, Professor Frimpong Boateng. Well, tonight, Professor Boateng is revealing details of several other reports he presented to Cabinet and to the Council of State calling for action against government officials he accuses of involvement in Galamsey. Here's Professor Frimpong Boateng in that exclusive interview with Joy News.
Let me ask you, when did you become aware of these challenges and involvement of some of your own colleagues allegedly in the Illegal Mining Act? And why did you only tackle it the way you did after you've exited?
I had not hesitated. It was, no. See, the thing is, at every point, people should not think that this is the only report that we wrote. On many occasions, I made a presentation in cabinet meeting. On 2 or 3 occasions, I made presentations at cabinet retreat. On 2 occasions, I made a council of state and said similar things.
Mention names?
Yes.
You mentioned names in cabinet too?
Yes. Listen, and then after the elections, I heard that the committee had been dissolved. So I wrote a letter to the chief of staff in February, I think on the 5th of February, that I've heard that the committee has been dissolved. So I want to hand over the things to her office and so on. And so when I said, so, and then some time later, end of February or so, she made reference to the letter that I wrote initially and said, I should write a report on the activities of the IMCIM and also suggest a way forward for the president's consideration in the fight against illegal mining. That is why I wrote this particular report. But that was not the only report that I wrote. Several of them in the course of the period. So people should not think, I mean, this is...
So this is the first report that had come to light, is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, yes.
But you've alerted the authorities, even your colleagues in cabinet, to this and mentioned names to them.
Yes.
And what happened when you did this? Was there a reaction? Was there an attempt to fix the problem and address the people who were involved?
Where, you know, for example, when the issue of invasion of the forest reserve came up, there was a cabinet directive that there should be no mining in forest reserve, but it still went on. It still went on. With some of the big companies that are still there, you know, they are still there right now in the forest. And people should not assume that they are not there. There are people in the forest reserves mining and destroying the people on the water bodies. There are people doing illegal things. Yeah.
He also dismissed claims by the CEO of the Minerals Commission that he usurped the powers of the commission and issued mining licenses. He admits he issued the permits, but says they did so because the commission failed to deal with the Galamsey problem.
How can we give licenses?
Did you ever give authority?
Yes,
to any
the committee had the power to do that, because it wasn't me. See, the committee was made up of representatives from Minerals Commission, EPA, Water Resources Commission, Forestry Commission, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Ministry of Water Resources, Ministry of Interior, Defense, 10 ministries. So we formed the committee, and we were supposed to regularize the small-scale mining. So at some point, when we're taking the miners through all the process, they are vetted and they are given the permission or the license to go and mine sustainably. So that's what the committee did. And so if the Minerals Commission chair is saying that, then he doesn't know what he's talking about.
But the Minerals Commission is the sole legislative body with the power to give licenses.
If they could do their work well, would not have the committee would not have been created. So the Minerals Commission was part of the committee. So if they say we didn't have the power, then he doesn't have the power to do that. It wasn't me. It was a committee.
But that's an ad hoc committee. It's an interministerial committee.
Yes. So we were supposed to do that, regularize things, and then back off.
But not to give licenses for people to do their mine.
We don't. Licenses is what kind of licenses? See, permit so that they could mine sustainably.
But the Minerals Commission chair makes the point that legally, that wasn't part of your mandate. Well, your mandate was to check illegal mining, and theirs legally, by law, was to permit and license.
So I don't want to go into that. I mean, just playing with words, because I didn't create the thing. It wasn't from Bob who was issuing the thing. We didn't issue mining licenses or EPA licenses and so on. This was done by. That is why we created the software. You know, it's because the Minerals Commission failed. The Inspectorate Division failed completely. It wasn't working because they were to ensure safety at the mine site. So why were people mining and destroying the environment? Because it wasn't working.
Well, Evans, the CEO of the Minerals Commission, Mr. AEC, has been fighting back. That's Martin AEC. In the sharp response, he insists that Frimpong Boateng was stampeding their work and they had to step in to stop him from doing so.
We have laws in this country. So should we get up and create vigilante groups simply because, let's say, in a particular area or suburb of Accra, people have been reporting crime and let's say they are not getting the needed response from the police, or crime is happening almost practically every day, so people should wake up and turn themselves into vigilante groups and say, because people are stealing here or people are being murdered day in, day out, so the police has failed, so will now become some kind of a gang or a group to stop crime. No, we have laws in this country. Okay, at least then it's an admission that he was overstepping his bounds, but I don't think that should be a reason. Okay, or is it a case that if, let's say, a particular institution is not working properly, somebody should just get up and say, look, we're going to fix it just like that? It doesn't work that way. I mean, the laws are clear as to who does what. So if there is anything at all, resources to be channeled into supporting that institution to be able to do its work effectively and efficiently. Now, I'm saying those resources have been provided. Okay, and things are okay. Things are moving on very well. We might not solve all the problems overnight, but at least, as I said, speak to the small-scale miners, they'll tell you that these days, within a very short time, they process their small-scale licensing. The processing, regime has improved significantly. Government is also assisting them with mercury-free machine so that they can stop the use of mercury. So a lot is happening.
He says that institutions like the Minerals Commissions were part, and you cannot yank yourself from the failures. It feels that he wasn't treated fairly, and an institution like yours can also be held responsible.
Sammy, I don't believe in blame game. I'm more interested in how to fix the problem. Let me tell you this. Maybe another time we will have a discussion as to the causes of illegal mining. You realize that if you really get to understand what causes or what is responsible for this illegal mining thing, you will not be saying what you're saying. Yes, there were some weaknesses here and there. I'll admit it. Yes, why not? For instance, all of a sudden, when small-scale mining started 34 years ago, it was just in about 4 or 5 regions. Now we're talking about 12, 13 regions. And over the period, we were not everywhere. Okay, so that affected how often you have to go to the site and then carry out inspections. Now, Minerals Commission is now having offices everywhere where at least mining takes place, or potentially when we see semblance of mining activities picking up, we create an office. Either we build one or we rent one. So things have improved. But if I sit and tell you that everything was perfect, I'm deceiving you.
Let's bring in a former chief executive of the Minerals Commission. Dr. Tony Obeng is a founder and president of the African Institute of Extractive Industry and joins us on the telephone line right now. And Doc, you were there before. So where do you stand on this controversy over whether or not the committee usurped the powers of the commission? Frimpong Boateng admits, yes, we issued permits. The current CEO says there's no way they could do that. And Frimpong Boateng explained they did that because the commission had failed in its mandate to stop the illegal mining menace, and because they had the commission as part of that ad hoc committee and all the ministers were also there, they felt they had the power to do so.
Okay, so good evening to you and good evening to your listeners. I think that I was privileged to be there for 8 months when the project was launched. I personally had issues with the interministerial committee. I thought the Minerals Commission was competent enough to be able to handle the challenges if it was supported properly. And they had all the policy ideas to try and address the challenge. Unfortunately, because of lack of full or better understanding of the causes of illegal mining, I'm sure it was seen to be better solved politically. And I think the result is what we see. Long before I became involved with the Minerals Commission, I'd already said that political entanglement is a huge challenge. So if the Minerals Commission was given the resource as was required, and then was given the freedom to operate as the Constitution emphasizes, I am sure they could have done much better job than having an internal committee that by itself would have even internal rebels and all that. I understand that there were even issues, and that are not good to fully substantiate that, but it was natural to expect that there would be a conflict between the Minister of Mines, who was then not the chairman, and then a Minister of Environment, who was supposed to be managed.
I mean, that committee is defunct now, but Galamsey is still raging on in our forests and our water bodies. The Minerals Commission is still there with all the authorities still in place. And if you listen to the current CEO, he admits that, yes, they've had challenges. Isn't it obvious on the face of the evidence that the Minerals Commission can't really address this matter? If a whole interministerial committee can't do it, how can a commission deal with it?
Well, I really think that we should go to the root of the cause of illegal mining. And we have long proposed some solutions, which I don't know why they haven't been taken on quite seriously. If you look at the causes, I have said before that if you look at the law that establishes or that allows small scale mining to take place, it only says that you must be, I think, 21 years and above, or 18 years and above, you must be a Ghanaian, and then you must have your license approved by the commission, just to put it in a paraphrase form. Now, this anticipated artisanal mining, small scale artisanal mining, not the scale of small scale mining that we see. So obviously there is a problem with the policies that anticipated the use of shovels and pickaxe, and now the use of excavators and trommels and all that. So that is one. Two, you can also see that it is only mining that you have large scale and small scale. So there's no intermediate scale. There's no SME. Normally we say SME. Now for mining, there's no SME. It's small scale and large scale, and the scales have changed. So we were supposed to change from the ideas that came up in '59 when this law was made. And then of course we haven't applied ourselves to the use of technology.
And indeed, that issue about technology is one that has featured very strongly in our attempt to try and deal with the problem. Dr. Tony Obing, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your thoughts on this matter. And Emefa Apawu, yesterday when we spoke to Professor Frimpong Boateng, the issue about his own personal relationship with the president emerged. And I asked him, what has been that relationship, how he defined that relationship since he left office. This was his answer. Plus also added that there have been calls on him from the party to just keep quiet.
If I've committed some error, fine, I admit it. But not when people are pursuing their greed and you point it out and you are demonized. That annoys me sometimes. And I think I will not allow myself to be intimidated by anybody.
You feel they're deliberately trying to intimidate you?
Of course, I think so.
And what's some of the elements that make you convinced that that's what's happening?
Because if you mention it, I don't know how people process information, but I know how I process my information, and I'm speaking to somebody, I can go into that person's mind and see how the person is thinking.
But why they intimidate? You're no longer a minister. You are a private citizen now. So why would they intimidate you? I
don't know.
Is it to shut you up?
Pardon me?
Is it to shut you up?
But I'm not talking. I don't like talking. I don't like talking. They say, keep quiet. I'm keeping quiet. And
they've asked you to keep quiet?
Yes, people say, the party people say, oh, Jacom, what's that party? Say that kind of thing. I'm quiet. But every day, report watching, man's taken to court, this, people are saying that, on radio, saying all sorts of things, But I keep quiet because I have a lot of respect for authority, The president knows that.
Is he your friend?
But the president, nobody is the president's friend. He's supposed to do his work. I don't think anybody can claim that he's a friend to the president. No. If you do that, you'll be wrong.
So how would you describe your relationship with him?
Cordial and, how do you put it, business-like, business-like. And he knows me very well.
Is it still cordial, that relationship?
No, I don't meet him. I'm out. So, you see, you have to understand what politics is. The president calls you to be a minister. You have to know that he can also dismiss you at any time. And therefore, you go with that mind, that any time you can be, and I'm not the person who will fight for a position. I've got a lot of things to do myself, even right now. Too many things to do for this country. And these things are not distracting me from doing what I want to do for Ghana. And I'll continue to do that until my last breath.
That's Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng in that interview with Evans Mensah, available on all our social media platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook. You can watch that for yourself. But in the last hour or so, we've been talking about this Office of the Special Prosecutor securing that court order to arrest Charles Bisu, who was also the secretary to the same interministerial committee that Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng headed. But we've been speaking to his lawyer, Nana Ejay Bafwewa, on whether Charles Bisu will turn himself in or not. You can listen to the interaction with Evans on Top Story.
I've heard of it, but your publication has also given me an indication, has also informed me, or, basically an information. I'm yet to receive proper confirmation because I've not seen it. And so, therefore, I'm still giving the special prosecutor the benefit of the doubt because I don't believe he would do that, right? I don't believe he would, disregard proper discretion, right? There are 3 pending suits against the office of the special prosecutor. Charles Bisu responded, and I heard Joseph Akable read it on your network not long ago, responded by saying that, look, give me time, I will come, I intend coming to see you at a particular date. Now I have a domestic emergency to attend to. Charles Bisu also said that, look, what has not able to allow him, you are only able to allow him about the request that you fail to make available to him. And you proceed to say that. And so, is it proper discretion? You rather wrote to him that you thought it prudent to invite him, right? Couldn't you have waited for that 1 week? Then, whatever necessitated that invitation, he says, produce that documentation to me. Why do you want to hold that documentation to your chest? Why? You see, my brother, we have transitioned from pre-1992 to 1992, to post-1992, right? Governed by the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. The tactics and the acts, right, which made us say no to the pre-1992 days, the military government, cannot become pervasive simply because of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. In any event, the powers that the Office of the Special Prosecutor exercises in our jurisdiction, right, is a chip of the powers of the Attorney General. Even the Attorney General will not behave that way. Even the Attorney General, the powers of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, I emphasize, is a chip from the powers of the Attorney General. Even the Attorney General will not behave the way the Office of the Special Prosecutor is behaving, right? And so, my brother, we did not transition from military rule into democratic rule for the Office of the Special Prosecutor become a pseudo-military agency to witch hunt and harass people. We need to respect the fundamental human rights of people under the 1992 Constitution.
Let me ask you, as we speak tonight, your client is a wanted man. Will he turn himself in?
No, he's not going to turn himself in.
So that's Nana Ejay Bafwewa, is the lawyer to Charles Bisu, who we are told that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has secured a court order to arrest him. Now let's do some other stories here on Newsnight. And Supreme Court order to Parliament to expunge the name of James Jachikwesin from its records today stated under confusion in Parliament. Speaker Alban Bagbing had to beat a retreat after an earlier order for Parliament to maintain the name of James Jachikwesin in its record. Well, the Speaker, before beating that retreat, stated that the Apex Court order is not clear enough and Parliament as a whole must take a decision on it. Let's bring in the Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, on this. So, Kweku, let's talk about how the matter even came up on the floor.
So, for a while, they were reviewing the votes and proceedings, what is called the votes and proceedings. It's the green booklet that records the previous day's proceedings. Some of the Kujotoa Blakwa noticed that James Jachikwesin, whose names appeared the previous day, all of a sudden did not appear on it. So he raised concerns that the Speaker had initially said that it would be difficult to implement the ruling and wanted to seek some guidance on it. And so he wanted to know why the name was suddenly out. It was then that all that ensued in Parliament this morning followed.
Well, then there was this haggling between the NDC and NPP MPs on the true meaning of the Apex Court order. How did it go down?
So we first heard from Mahama Yariga, who said that his understanding of the Supreme Court order to Parliament was simply to expunge the name of the MP from their records. And that simply meant that the name of the MP as of the time and the future when the order was made. And then we also heard from NPP MP for Asante Achimnos and the Apia Kubi, whose opinion was that the order was much more comprehensive and goes back to even some of the things that Jachikwesi may have said on the floor of the House.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know if I did not read the directive of the Supreme Court properly. The Supreme Court is asking for the name of a particular person to be expunged from the records as a member of Parliament. It is not my understanding that everything else that he has participated in doing in this House should be null and void.
Should expunge from the records of Parliament his name and anything associated with him. That presupposes that Parliament should consider him not having been here at all. And Mr. Speaker, I say this with reference to Article 2(3) of our Constitution that says that the orders of the Supreme Court pursuant to such an application ought to be followed rigidly. Indeed, it goes on Article 2(4) to prescribe punishment for refusal to obey the orders of the court.
Well, so Kweku, then the Speaker's initial directive came. Let's talk about it.
Speaker of Parliament Urban Bagbin, before Parliament would take any decision on how to comply with that order of the House, the name should remain on the vote and proceedings.
Honorable Ablakwa has a case. Until we finally decide, the second part of what we are expected to do, the first part was the vacancy that has been created. That there is no controversy over. And the law as to who should communicate to the EC is also clear. It's the clerk. The service is to the Parliament and is served through the highest office holder in Parliament, the Speaker. And so the Speaker communicates to the clerk, please, this is what has happened. There is no doubt about the fact that a vacancy has been created.
So, Kweku, then the Speaker had cause to change his mind almost immediately?
Yes, the Deputy Clerk, Mr. Humajistro, actually walked from where he was sitting and went to the Speaker to tell him that you cannot maintain the name of James Kwesi on the roll of MPs when you have communicated to the EC that there should be a by-election due to a vacancy that has occurred. It was then that the Speaker of Parliament had to say that he was withdrawing the earlier directive and was now directing that the name should be taken out.
And so it can no longer appear in the votes and proceedings are still existing. There is no member now for Asin North constituency. And so that cannot be captured in the votes and proceedings. And I think he's right. I think he's right. The challenge that we have is what to do with the rest of the name in the other records. And so those of you saying prospective, you know, when you are talking about prospective, there's nothing to delete or expunge because it doesn't exist at all. When you are talking about prospective, you only expunge something that is on record. And so I want to be guided on that because there are consequences. There is an effect, and we have to look at it together. Consequently, I have to review my order. Jachi Kwesi should, as from yesterday, not be captured in the votes and proceedings of the House.
It appears the name James Jachikwesi has been mentioned so many times, I'm sure we can count, but it takes us to Asin North at this point. It's just right to check on the situation in Asin North ahead of that June 27 by-election. And your election headquarters at Pitchcamp there.
We have, and indeed, guess who is leading us there? Richard Kodunyaku. He knows Asin North like the back of his palm, like the food he eats in the morning. He lives, he breathes and sleeps in. And so he's there for us. And with less than the 3 weeks to the crucial Asin North constituency by-elections, it has been busy with earth-moving machines now in the community, making sure the roads are tarred and etc. Things are done ahead of this. Rita Kudunyako, I'm on the ground, tells us the whole story.
Earth-moving equipment hammering their way throughout the constituency. Inner town roads in the Asin North constituency are receiving attention. The attention some of these projects never got months and years back. Here at Asin Breku, some electricity poles have to make way for the road construction. In their place, new ones are being fixed by the ECG for expansion of the road network. A beautifully constructed astroturf here at Asin Breku stares at residents as it awaits commissioning. It's a cocktail of reaction from residents.
If you look at the emergence of this development that is going on right now, you cannot see anything but to attribute it to the by-election. I've lived in this constituency, specifically Asin Breku here, where you are seeing this development going on. And in 2020, or prior to the 2020 election, we had this same, contractor come on site with his machines. And just after the 2020 election, when the then MP, Honorable Mensah, who was on the ticket of the MPP, lost the election, we never saw these machines again. So you cannot tell me that it is not for this by-election that these machines has come back to site.
If you can see the excavators, they have been there from 2020. And then if you go to the AstroTurf, it started last year. If you go to the one district, one factory, the same thing last year. And if you see the pace of work in some of them, some of the contractors have money, so their work almost goes quickly.
DC for the area says these projects are old projects that stalled, and it took him several trips to Accra to get a certificate of the contractors finalized.
My name is Charles Ohini Ando, DC Asin North. After the election, the contractor left because he has raised some certificate which hadn't been honored. And then later he came back. So we have about 6 of our roofs which we started way back in 2020. And I can mention them, and they are living testimony to this one. Because over here, I did a short cutting here together with the former MP, Honorable Abena. Yes, this is about 11 kilometers. That's from Breku Town Roads to Ninchiso. So you can see the drains and then the culvert. You can see that this thing didn't start just last 2 or 3 weeks that this place, the seat was declared vacant.
But they stalled?
Yes, they stalled, because of payment issue, yes.
He is of the firm belief that the constituents deserve what they are getting because its development, all of them are yearning for.
So I'm so surprised that people are saying that because of by-election that we are seeing all this development going on. I just get worried.
But you also expressed surprise that, well, there is some kind of energy that has been exerted.
Yeah, it's a fact. It's a fact. And it comes with it's development. Because if I tell you the number of times that I've traveled to Accra for this project, you'll be surprised. And you ask yourself, why is it that as we have most of these roads having contractors on site? And then you'll be surprised that, yes, it has been lobbying. You understand? So you staying surprised, yes, but then it comes with it. And the speed of work, yes, I'm happy now it is going at this speed. And I'm happy.
I have been tracking the nearly 120 project government claims it's tackled in the constituency. I've seen a beautifully constructed AstroTurf, an Agenda 11 project, a 32-kilometer road network, and others that are at various stages of completion. The next 2 weeks here in Asin North constituency looks pregnant with many activities as the campaigns of the 2 dominant political parties in the upcoming by-election scheduled for the 27th of June heat up. Richard Kwejenyako, Joy News, Asin Breku.
You know, Asin North has become a tourist destination.
Yeah, we have to.
You need to catch it before the by-election.
Yeah, because after things may change.
Exactly.
Visit Asin North.
Visit Asin North.
Yeah.
Hashtag visit Asin. George, you come with us?
Of course, to look at the business impact and how the attention and how it's impacting on businesses in that community. I think it will be very, very, very interesting, and how money is exchanging hands also in that community. What will be the impact on that? I mean, not Asin, like people buying and selling. you understand me, and how that is going to impact on the local economy and all the rest. So I think
we should go and buy and sell.
People are buying because don't forget all these MPs who are going to descend there. They need the hotels to sleep. They will buy food and all the rest, and it could be a cash season for these hotels. So the exchange of money is going to happen.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, well, coming up in business, Bank of Ghana increases dollar support to deal with the recent pressure on the Ghana cedi. Revenue Authority arrests more business owners over failure to issue VAT invoices. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Allianz Life and Ghana Pay.
Isn't life wonderful when everything worth doing is scheduled? Hitting the stop button on your alarm just in time for your morning jog. That happy moment listening to your baby's heartbeat at the doctor's office. Or an arranged virtual meeting with that big client.
Buy airtime ahead of time with scheduled airtime service on MTN Momo. You can schedule your airtime purchase of any amount daily, weekly, or monthly by dialing *170# option 3 and follow the process. Or simply dial *170*311# for a superb airtime purchase experience. You enjoy 100% bonus airtime anytime you recharge yourself with MTN Momo. Keep on talking with that 100% feeling. So, what are we doing today?
MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302-764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website, www.kingdomgh.com.
Media Sambisanda Moa. Tiamratiano, Mumu, I panic to be Vietnam, Podom Pemu Maniacono. Eh, Quabna. No, Mumu wants to be just my Mariana there. And the crow, cooperate to me, Podom Pimus, so you super accident ever. I didn't have been the Braille. Who see it in a mobile, some man I want it. Sir, I need not could you soon use super accident Chaco. Then dear, a mouse, and we are credit fit of that. No, what you ask you, your mother feel you. Kojo, sir. Yeah. Pepsodent Eba and a Pepsodent Chaco. A idea. You're gonna natural.
FDIJ Trading Katuyatu.
Shit, Wahala no get breaks. So. What is it? Some customers have left. Their mobile money payment didn't come.
What? Avoid such payment issues with BluePay. BluePay lets you easily receive payments on your mobile device with no e-levy charges. Simply enter your customer's number and the amount to be paid on your BluePay app. The customer will receive the BluePay prompt to confirm with their PIN instantly. Customers can also pay with bank cards using the BluePay POS device. Call or WhatsApp 054-7220-200 or visit bluepay.com.gh to register and get BluePay for your business today. BluePay, never miss a sale.
The Green Ghana Day initiative has been very successful since its inception in 2021. On behalf of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, I want to thank all of you for your continued support over the years. This year, on Friday, June 9, 2023, the Green Ghana Day, we have another opportunity to contribute to the restoration of our lost forest cover. I want to entreat each and every one of you to take part in this national tree planting exercise. This year, our target is 10 million trees. The Forestry Commission will make seedlings available at their district offices and other designated places. Grab a seedling, plant it, and nurture it to maturity. Their survival and protection lie in our hands. So does ours. Green Ghana, let's go planting.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, Bank of Ghana has been increasing dollar support for the market to deal with the recent pressure on the Ghana cedi. This is what Joy Business has picked up from some treasurers with the commercial banks. There is more in this report.
The Ghana cedi has come under pressure over the past 1 week. This is due to pickup in dollar demand during that period by some businesses in the country. There has not been any official reason for the cedi's recent challenges. However, some market analysts say it is due to the level of recovery by the Ghana cedi after the country secured the IMF program, which was below expectation. The development foiled a lot of demand by businesses, with some warning that depreciation could set in again. Well, checks by Joy Business with some of the bank treasuries indicate that the Bank of Ghana has been heavy on the market over the past 3 days with dollar support. Joy Business understands that since Tuesday, the Bank of Ghana has been on the market with some $7 million a day. It is believed that some of these interventions have gone a long way to help with the Ghana cedi stability over the past 2 days. But the question on the minds of a lot of market watchers is that, is this stability sustainable?
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, owners of 3 hotels are the latest to be arrested by the Ghana Revenue Authority over failure to issue VAT invoices for services rendered. These owners were among 6 businesses that were arrested by the Enforcement and Tax Compliance team of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Accra Central Enforcement Manager of the authority, Joseph Anand, says corporates will actually be charged.
What we did was to intercept vehicles from these quarries and check their documentation, whether they have the appropriate documents covering the product, which are the stones. Unfortunately, many of them didn't have that. This exercise was done some 3 weeks ago, and today we've decided to arrest them so as it is now, we have picked up employees of these companies. The CID will conduct their investigation, and then we'll also do a preemptive. We'll recommend them for full audit. But once the investigation is done, then the CID will refer the case to our legal unit for possible prosecution.
Central Enforcement Manager of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Joseph Annan. Now, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers has described the exit from the Gold for Oil program by some players as worrying. It's coming after the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors revealed that some of their members have stopped buying the products sold under the program. This is due to supply and how the program has been structured. Executive Secretary of the Chamber, Duncan Amwa, noted the situation raises a lot of questions about the sustainability of the program.
Whereas most of the BDCs or the markets has been operating with a certain credit system, I can talk of some of the BDCs having a 91-day and sometimes 120-day credit from their suppliers. Now we income goes for oil that says, okay, you load, you pay. What then happens with the major oil traders is that, yes, this the market has money, pay for gold for oil cash, and you are in their position. Why would you want to continue doing credit for 120 days? You are getting to a point where the oil traders are insisting on, you also pay them cash. If you can pay both cash to live gold for oil consignment, you would then also have to now come back the traders who are supplying over 80% of the market current to also pay them cash. Those are the challenges that I probably envisage would make some of the BDCs want to opt out completely.
Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Duncan Amwa. There wouldn't be dividend payment for shareholders of EcoBank over the institution's performance for last year. This was after the bank posted loss of 27.2 million Ghana cedis for 2022. The bank says it's due to its net impairment charges of 1.7 billion arising from the debt restructuring program by government. Managing Director Dan Saki reminded confident of actually going forward to ensure that things will be positive this year. He spoke to Joy Business at the 35th annual general meeting of the bank today.
We believe that the future of banking is digital. We believe that we'll continue to serve more of our clients via the digital channels. And our expectation is that we'll start reaping the benefits from the investment in digitalization. And that should contribute towards, one, lower cost to serve, and to a better customer experience for the bank. We'd also like to use this opportunity to educate our clients, inform them, sensitize them on the need to keep personal information.
Dan Saki is the managing director of EcoBank Ghana, talking about things improving strongly this year in terms of their financials. And Evans, one critical question is, how will this IMF program that we've signed on to impact businesses in Ghana today?
Indeed, good conversation to have as we begin to understand the implications of this IMF program for various sectors of the economy. And on upfront,
Raymond is looking at the poor, the vulnerable in society. Exactly. But we on PM Express will be engaging businesses. We look at engage Mark Bedu Abuaji, his chief executive of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Sechuma Kabwa is CEO of the Association of Ghana Industries. Joe Jackson is director of business operations at Deluxe Finance. And Dr. Patrick Ekofori, he's CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Bulk or Distribution Companies, as we assess the impact of this program on businesses at 9 p.m. on Joy News Channel on Multi TV.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, George. And guess who is here?
Fentu Tahiru.
Oh, that's not the name.
Okay.
Salamatu.
That's
the name.
No, you didn't go there.
I'm so
I thought we were good friends.
Oh, but we are still good friends.
Yes. I've outgrown the name.
I deny your name
why
is
you call
Salamatu.
Salamatu, please?
Times have, you see, there's no point explaining this.
For
We've
those
gone
of us
past
who are
it.
listening for the first
No,
time,
we'll tell you after here.
We've gone past it.
but
Now
listeners
it's
who want to know.
time for sports, isn't it?
What do you have in the headlines?
Ghana is attempting to end a 20-year wait to be at the Olympic Games in the football tournament. The last time the Black Meteors were there was back in 2004. And now they're putting all their arsenal in front in trying to end that particular drought. Kamaldeen Sulemana and Enes Nuama, they've headlined Ibrahim Tanko's Black Meteors 29-man professional squad for a pre-tournament camping in Egypt. That squad will be trimmed down to 23 before the final 23-man squad is named. There's more in this report.
The team is made up of 15 home-based players and 14 foreign-based players. The squad is expected to be pruned to 21 for the tournament to be held in Morocco later this month. Sporting CPs Abdul Fattawi Sahaku, FC Zurich Daniel Afriye Barnier and Salim Adams of FC Cincinnati, who were instrumental in the qualifiers, have also been named in the squad. Hamburg's Ransford Yabua Konisdorfer, Basel's Emmanuel Esiam and Kojo Opoku of Los Angeles FC are also in the squad. The team will leave Accra on Monday, June 12 for Cairo, Egypt, where they will camp for 2 weeks and engage in a series of friendlies before the competition. The Black Meteors have been training at the Ghana Soccer Center of Excellence in Pram Pram ahead of the trip to Egypt. Last month's group stage draw pitched Ghana in Group A alongside host nation Morocco, Guinea and Congo. The tournament is scheduled to start on June 24, 2023 and end on July 8, with the top 3 teams earning automatic qualification for the 2024 Olympics. Ghana opens its campaign on June 25 against Congo.
Yep, so it's all to play for as far as the Black Meteors are concerned. And Ibrahim Tanko is leaving no stone unturned. The team will fly out on Monday for a pre-tournament camp in Egypt. The tournament itself, as you heard, will start on June 24. And that's all the sports this evening. Evans.
Thank you, Salamatu.
Thank you. Oh, God. Thank you, Salah.
Well, let's check on our pothole situation.
Our pothole situation, indeed, in our potholes exhibition. You know, the National Road Safety Authority, they are indicating tonight that despite the significant reductions that they've seen in the tally of road accidents across the country, they are still determined to do even more to minimize road casualties. But particularly, they're also concerned about the potholes and the contributions that they also make to the crashes that we see on our roads. Well, I'll take you to Bokrom in Ashanti region, where residents say the poor nature of the roads is causing serious accidents. Love FM Nana Yabuachi has more.
Here you go. Government serving us. In fact, drivers here with the best. One road, several potholes.
But some things need to be said and Tim.
A good number of roads in Ghana are left with dangerous potholes. Major road networks in Kumasi are no exception, as the roads are inundated with deep circular depressions. Some motorists have experienced the damages that go beyond mechanical repairs in these craters.
Before you can move straight from this particular stretch to wherever you are going, you must pass through this particular pit.
The well-adorned road is now a death trap with praiseworthy traffic growth. Potholes have developed on this road. They refused to work on just this particular stretch. We've complained so much about the traffic over here. It is obvious that these potholes are fast developing into manholes, putting the lives of motorists and commuters at risk. But state institutions in charge of covering them up show up at work and do nothing about it. To some of these road users, this is a life-threatening pit.
Almost there 3 months, 2 accidents.
I came across an accident almost a month ago. As government institutions yawn on patching up the holes, some residents fill the riddled bitumen with debris to lessen the impact of vehicles slumping into holes. Sometimes they attempt to fill these holes with just anything, sometimes with coconut husk. I started using this road around 1994. This is a busy road, but government isn't ready to fix it for us. We, the drivers, could fix it ourselves. This is very disheartening.
Yes, sir. They be Nasu they be pepper that pain. They be Nasu they be pepper that pain.
The rains, however, washed away the debris, and with a few more slumps into the small holes, the bitumen chips at the edges and become deep holes. As these potholes continue to widen, water seeps into the weakened underlying soil as the heavy vehicular load fatigue the poorly asphalted surface.
That's Nana Boachi Yadom's report from Workroom. Well, we've been hearing from the Ashanti Regional Director of Urban Roads, Francis Gambra, and he's been telling Love FM's David Akwete that rehabilitation works on pothole-riddled roads will commence in a month's time. But we can now hear from the Director of Regulation, Inspection and Compliance at the National Road Safety Authority, Kwame Kodie-Tuyahine, who says plans are afoot to make roads safer across the country.
When those gaps exist, then the evidence is that there's still work to be done, and we must figure out how to fix those lapses, and that's what we're planning to do at present. But otherwise, on the evidence of the data, even though we are not at the level where we can be very comfortable, we are beginning to see some action, and it gives us some reason to reflect on what is being done right in order for us to intensify the efforts to be able to have bigger wins.
That's Kwame Kodie-Tuyahine. Evans, it's a Thursday, so it's time to focus on technology. And tonight we are focusing on Michael Kome of the KNUST. He's a technology consultant. He's leading that Technology Consultant Center, UNESCO Category 2 Center of Excellence. And he's the pioneer of the plastic waste to fuel in Ghana. We put the spotlight on him. Love FM's Kwesi Debra has been interacting with him.
I first saw an article video of a lady lecturer in India who's making, turning plastics to diesel fuel, and at that time she was earning like 200 million a year just by selling to Pragya. India has a lot of Pragyas, so that was what she was doing. So when I started my research, with the plastics. With the water filter membranes, and then doing cook stoves and all those things. This idea was lingering on. So what kickstarted the whole thing was more of out of annoyance of why Ghanaian scientists, researchers, professors are not able to solve the problem. And we're just talking about the problem and giving some interesting solutions, which were, for me, so I started with a Emilio did a small paralysis something, and then that is what happened.
So that's it for Environment Week, focusing on Tech Thursday. But let's do National Science and Maths quiz now.
Well, it's, as you know, a painful defeat for Adisado College. Adisco, students of Atiring Swa Senior High School had to bow out of the... I was hoping that it's the school that beats.
Oh, no. Shame on you.
Had to bow out of the 2022 National Science and Maths quiz after scoring 1 point at the prelims. But guess what? They are back in the national championship, vowing to avenge that painful loss. Well, they tell my colleague Emmanuel Baikweku they are ready to defeat the Zebra Boys at the national competition after winning their contest.
Lightweight. Tell them that we are coming this time around. We should tell Adisco. Tell them we are coming this time around, and we are not coming to joke over there. This time around, it's not lightweight. We have invested in us, so we are not big weight. We are coming. Tell them we are coming to abuse them with Charles. If they don't know Charles abuse, we are coming.
Our message to Adisco is that this year they are not going to find it easy. We are coming with Charles race. They should expect us. We are coming for a revenge. We want them in the same contest on 1/8. We will show them that Adrian Sada.
So that's the National Science and Maths quiz, and thankfully they will just have to be focusing on, quiz, because there will be no pillow fights and tug of war at the basic and secondary school.
Forward to it,
you were after the public backlash, the GES has backtracked on that. They've actually written. We've seen the memo that they've written to the Ghana Tug of War and Pillow Fight Federation, asking them to step down. They are not going to do that anymore.
You know, throughout the week we've been remembering Professor Amata Edu. We bring you extras from her piece, An Angry Letter in January, a creative masterpiece which speaks vehemently against discrimination, racism and inequality at large, read by A's Ghanaian filmmaker Kofa Ejiani. And that's it on Newsnight tonight.
Dear bank manager, I've received your letter. Thank you very much. Threats, intimidations and all. So what if you won't give me a loan of 2,000 or only conditioned by special rules and regulations because I'm not white, male or a commercial farmer? In relation to the latter, whose land is this anyway? I know that for what I'm not, you could have signed away 2 solid millions and not too many questions asked. Of course I'm angry. Wouldn't you be if you were me? Reading what you had written was enough to spoil for me all remaining 11 months of the year plus a half, but I won't let it. I had even thought of asking God that the next time round he makes me white, male and a commercial farmer, but I won't. Since apart from the great poverty and the petty discriminations, I have been very happy being me, an African, a woman and a writer. Just take your racism, your sexism and your pragmatism off me, overt, covert or internalized, and damn you.
And that's how we wrap up tonight's edition of Newsnight. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. And we have the latest MP, the freshest MP in town. The Kumeu MP is our guest on Personality Profile with